Thank you for tuning into our seller interview series. Up today, we've got an Amazon MBA business for sale in the apparel and accessories niche. Created in March 2016, this business makes $3,686 per month in net profit, and the listing number for the site is 43969. We do these interviews to give potential buyers more information about both the seller and the sites they're looking to purchase. We hope these insights are helpful for you in making a buying decision. We've got the seller with us today to go through the business and cover everything from niche selection to traffic and monetization. How are you doing today, Stephen?
Good. How are you doing, Jake?
I'm doing well. It's interesting. I do these calls all the time with people around the world, and this is probably the closest I've ever been with you being about an hour and a half away from me.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Small world, and I'm glad that we were able to get a time to make this chat work.
Yeah, thanks for being accommodating.
And thank you. Before we dive into the questions that I have for you, I want to run through a quick summary of the business. Again, the business was built in May of 2016, has a monthly revenue of $3,686, expenses of $0 to make for a net profit of $3,686, which is generated from a 12-month average. Included in the sale of this business are the Merch by Amazon account with 1,266 active designs, the domain, site content and files, and social media accounts for Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. Can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Sure. This would be the first one. I graduated from college only a year and a half ago, and at first the business started out as a hobby. Luckily, I got into Merch by Amazon earlier than most in March of 2016, and my first month I made $93, and I was like, wow, this is some good beer money. And then in April, I made like 300 something, and I was like, whoa, where is this going? And then in May, those thoughts continued to swirl, and even harder because it was about $1,300 profit in May. And I was like, oh my God, is this a fluke or is this sustainable? How much can this thing grow? What's going on? And it was a really, really wild ride at the beginning, especially since I graduated, started working for my current employer for my day job. And, I was working really hard after work and on weekends, putting up shirts and putting up high quality things. I'm working hard to build the business up because it was generating income that was completely unforeseen, and I wanted to take complete advantage. And it just kept going up and up and up. And in September, it hit 3,500, and I thought that was really the peak. And then the next month, it went bananas, and I made $13K in 1 month. I still have no idea to this day why that happened. October was consistent and crazy. It was like one shirt went viral. The volume was absolutely nuts, and I haven't had that kind of volume since, but it's really exciting that happened. And because I still don't know why it did, the business still has the potential to do that on any given month. And I would say if you look at the numbers, obviously, and you look at the nice graph on Empire Flippers, the chart has leveled out certainly, and the cash flow has been more consistent, and that's great too. So it definitely got a lot more serious as the months went on. Really starting with that September month, I was like, all right, I need, to make this into a legitimate company and everything. And I would say I'm selling because, I'm really listing it, and I will sell for the right price. Right now, I haven't touched the business in about 4 months. So really, there's essentially no maintenance on it. It's just nice to stay in the know on some of the Facebook forums. That's really all I do, just to make sure nothing major is happening, whether it's good or bad. And I'm just sitting back and collecting the residuals, and it's been life-changing. It is, it's my baby, but I can't take for granted how lucky I was to be in the right place at the right time to start this thing. I don't take any of it for granted, and I would cash out for the right price, but my intent would be to stay in the business because I definitely see merch still growing. Some of my family members have accounts. I would want to stay in the business because I see the growth opportunity, but I would cash out and just pay off all my student loans, about $90K in student loans. So that's where it would go. That would be the plan.
So that's why you're selling. You would like the capital to be able to pay off your debt.
Yes.
So with all that being said, Can you just take a second to detail exactly what the Merch by Amazon business model is for someone who's unfamiliar with it?
Yeah, so first of all, I would highly suggest that anybody does research on Merch by Amazon, regardless if you are a serious buyer or not, because it's generated a lot of buzz recently because you have heard success stories like mine, and mine is unique for sure for any seller, and there are some really crazy stories out there, and they are true. Merch by Amazon requires no startup investment, and that is why I was able to get in. And also that's why I'm able to keep my overhead low. Everything you see on the graph, all those numbers, that's money in my pocket. So I essentially have no overhead. Merch by Amazon is a platform that Amazon completely controls. They started it in October of 2015, so I got in 5 months after the platform was launched. And they essentially started the platform because Amazon allows other sellers to, people sell all kinds of things on Amazon. They allow other sellers to sell video games and apps that they create. So they approached my younger brother, who's currently in college still, and said, hey, developers, this would be a great way for you guys to advertise your brand. Would you guys like to join our new t-shirt program called Merch by Amazon? And my brother did, and he was making a couple hundred a month. And my parents and I were like, dude, where is this money coming from? And I applied, they approved me quickly, and I put a completely different spin on it. I realized, why just video games? Why not anything? And my design portfolio is extremely diverse. So you can really put anything on a shirt that fits Amazon's template of 4,500 by 5,400 pixels. And you can sell standard shirts that are 100% cotton, premium shirts, which are a little nicer. They're a mixture of cotton and polyester, and long sleeve shirts, which are also either cotton or a mixture of cotton and polyester. And there's 22 different color options and over a dozen different sizes. And all the products are Amazon Prime eligible. So it's a huge opportunity, and Amazon obviously profits from every sale as well. So they are totally incentivized to put Merch by Amazon shirts over other shirts listed by companies that even pay for advertising. So the platform is certainly not going anywhere. Just a little over a month ago, I believe on November 3rd, they released long sleeve shirts almost without warning. And you have to believe that other products are coming. And because Amazon is probably profiting on average more per shirt than all the sellers. So, that's from a buyer's perspective. Obviously, you want to know, okay, where is this going? And obviously there's risk involved, but you have to determine where you think it's going. And I would highly suggest doing your due diligence and research, and I'll provide my opinions, but there's lots of other opinions out there as well. Should I expand on anything, Jake?
No, that was very good, Steven. So you are designing t-shirts, and they could range from video games to anything that you want to put on a shirt. Is that how you're doing it?
Yeah, so, my broad niche in the business is really just simplicity, simple graphics and simple text designs. And I think that a lot of people like simple. And from my research, trial and error, really, because anyone familiar with Amazon FBA knows that Amazon withholds a lot of information, keeps it for themselves, and really doesn't give you. So you have to kind of do your own research, collect your own data. And I come from a finance background. I'm not techie by any means. So I come with a totally different perspective, whereas most Merch by Amazon sellers that are doing this full time have experience with other print on demand or fulfillment by Amazon platforms. I do this on a part-time basis, and I have no overhead. A lot of people like to outsource designs and have listings in general and have a completely different business model and techniques and methods to their madness than I do. So my niche definitely is simplicity. A lot of, I really shoot for the evergreen designs, and a lot of people like to go for the big hitters in the holidays, whether it's Halloween or Christmas, and I really don't do that. I really try to have consistent cash flow coming in, so I go for designs that can be applicable and that aren't seasonal. But I definitely like the rest of Amazon sellers, regardless of the platform, see that giant spike in Q4 sales. So,
do you design all of your designs personally?
No, I would say most of the text designs, actually all the text designs I design, and then the majority of the graphics are just free public domain images that are available for commercial use.
So you have zero expenses on that 12-month average. Is that actually zero, or is it just something small and minuscule? Like, do you have any operating cost?
No, because I do everything myself. I mean, it's my time, and that's really it. I mean, on my, when I file my taxes, I'll put all of your typical small business expenses on there. But other than that, no. Those numbers that you see are what's going into my pocket. That's the money after Amazon takes their cut. That's your royalty for sure.
Do you know what percentage you get on every t-shirt sale?
Yeah, I mean, profit margins have definitely varied, and they will continue to vary. I was hesitant at the beginning. I didn't want to mess up a good thing. So I definitely sold at lower prices than I do now. And I gradually got more comfortable and increased my prices, thereby increasing my profit margin. Also along the way, Amazon is about to do their fourth increase of costs on their end. So the profit margins for everybody are, I won't say the profit margins, but if you kept your prices the same, your profit margin would go down. And they're implementing that on January 15th. But it's definitely a good thing because a lot of Merch by Amazon sellers, they sell, honestly, complete crap and low quality stuff. Amazon's totally improving their platform. It's becoming wildly more sophisticated quickly. And I understand that they have more costs and you know what they're doing. People speculate that they're going to do other products like hoodies and mugs and go into other European markets that they're not currently involved in. But I would say, to put this in perspective, a lot of people like to price shirts at $19.99. Right now, if you sold a $19.99 shirt, you make $7.19 royalty. After January 15th, that will go down to $5.38. However, I think the quality is really going to improve. There are most negative reviews that are left on products are due to things not in your control. The two most common things I see are the buyer of the shirt complaining about the size or a strange chemical smell. So I assume Amazon is definitely tackling those things and can attribute that to the increased costs. Additionally, they're ramping up production for their long sleeve shirts, and the margins on those are very good, and they're going to continue to be very good. I sell some long sleeves now for $29.99, and the margin on those is $7.99 profit.
So you're putting in, as you said, no work on this business. You haven't touched it in 4 months for the most part.
Yeah.
So with 0 hours of work a week every month, you're making about $3,500 a month. If you wanted to grow that number even more, where are some big opportunities that are available for a new owner?
Absolutely. So it would shock me if there was another account out there with the same growth opportunity as mine. So I have about 1,265 products live, and they have all sold. And Amazon has this rule where if a shirt hasn't sold in 90 days, they take it down. All of those products have sold, so they will not be taken down. I think about it as, over 1,200 small perpetuities, if you will. And that has made for very consistent cash flow. Obviously, there are fluctuations, but these fluctuations, I almost think about my account relative to all other accounts as I like to make a comparison to stocks and stock indexes. So think of my account as a stock, and then think of all Merch by Amazon accounts as the market, right? So with the stock market, it's doing great right now, with the Dow hitting over 24,000. So there's systematic risk. If the market doing well, most other Merch by Amazon accounts are also doing better as a result. There's obvious positive correlation there. And when the stock market goes down, so do a lot of other stocks. So it's tough in an environment. If Amazon decided to make some major changes negative to the entire platform as a whole, or you were in Q1 where sales might tend to be a little bit slower, most likely everybody else's sales are also going to be proportionally as slow, if that makes sense. So the biggest growth opportunities for my account are scalability. So I have those over 1,200 products listed already, and I have over 6,700 open slots, which means that at no cost, you can list 6,700 products on Amazon at no cost. I highly doubt that you will find another Merch by Amazon account out there. So the scalability is enormous. I completely on pretty much organic traffic from Amazon, my website and my social media accounts. I can't attribute any success, or definitely not over 1% of sales from that. So if a buyer wants to, sit on the couch and collect that residual income, that's cool, and they should be interested. And if a buyer wants to take this thing and run with it and has experience, offshoring good quality, skilled, cheap labor in other countries, which is what a lot of top sellers do, that's where the real scalability will come in. And you could potentially, obviously do the math. The sky's the limit for people that want to be active and manage this thing. So I think it appeals both to passive and active investors.
So if someone wanted to come in and start a new Merch by Amazon account, which I'm sure happens a lot, is it easy for them to get to your level? Or as an established seller who got in 5 months after the program started, do you have clear advantages?
Yeah, so I'm not going to deny that I got in at the right place at the right time. There are clear advantages. It would be, I don't want to say impossible because anything is possible, but it would be very, very, very difficult to scale as quickly now as I was able to before. And this is because, I would suggest everyone that listens to this, sign up for a Merch account. You're going to learn a lot about one of the platforms from one of the most influential companies in the world, even if you're not interested in going through with this sale. But you're not going to find accounts with 6,700 slots available. They do not exist. Even one of the most successful sellers and one of the most influential sellers on every forum out there is only at 6,000 tier, even though he's cracked 6 figures on an annual basis. So how Merch works is if you sign up and for some reason they approve you, the average time, it ranges so much. So I don't want to really give my opinion. Do your research on how long it takes for Amazon Merch account approval, and you'll see. But once you get approved, they start you off with 10 listings. Then once you sell 10 products, they allow you 25 listings. Then once you sell 25 shirts, then they'll give you 100 listings, and then 500, and then 1,000, and then 2,000, and then 4,000, 6,000, and finally 8,000. Back then, there was no 6,000, so they bumped me immediately from 4 to 8. So I've been 8K tier for about 13 or 14 months now. So as you can imagine, and they do this really on a monthly basis. So assuming you meet these targets every month, that's your best case scenario. Again, this isn't proven. This is just a lot of people's speculation. As you can imagine, it would take a long time to scale. And obviously, the more people hear about Merch, the more competitive the platform's growing and getting bigger to compensate for that competitiveness. But the barriers to entry are definitely increasing.
Are there any big risks associated with Merch by Amazon that you feel a buyer should be aware of?
Absolutely. That would be the first questions if I was a buyer that I would ask a seller like myself is, one, everything sounds so great. Why are you selling this thing? And number two is, what are the biggest risks? The biggest risks are Amazon owns you. Amazon has the power to turn your account on or off. If you submit copyrighted stuff, trademarked stuff, Amazon will view you as a liability. No company, wants to get involved with litigation, and they will have no problem, getting rid of you instantly. So you have to abide by their terms of service. I can't stress it enough. That is the risk, but luckily it's within your control. There are ways to check this stuff out There are two websites that I use to check out trademarks. They're Trademarkia and the USPTO. And as long as you don't slap a picture of Kobe Bryant's face on a shirt, you're going to be good. So it's a lot of common sense and just doing and due diligence on Merch by Amazon sellers' ends. So those are the risks. Luckily, it appears that all the sellers have full control. Amazon obviously can decide at one point, with a snap of their fingers, hey, we want to invest our capital elsewhere. We want to shut down our warehouses overseas and things like that. But obviously, I don't see that happening because if I don't get the right price, I'm happily going to continue to collect the residual and live with the risk. There's risk in any business. A lot of people are on that, obviously are searching on Empire Flippers, are familiar with Amazon FBA and other things like that. And the risks with merch are not different than the risks with other merch platforms.
With that said, you mentioned before that you were doing video game shirts. So let's just, for example, Super Mario. Everyone knows Super Mario. So let's say you have a Mario shirt. How do you know if your design, your logo, your lettering that you're using is copyrighted or not? Like, how do you find that out specifically? Because there are so many Mario pictures out there.
That's a good question. Back then, there wasn't as much oversight. And when I say back then, I mean right when this thing started. My little brother was 13 at the time and actually did exactly what you just said. He put up a bunch of Mario shirts, other Nintendo 64 games, and my 13-year-old brother made $2,000 in a month. And for a 13-year-old kid, that's crazy. But we learned a lot from that because Amazon shut him down. But Amazon was still legally obligated to pay him. So he did get his money. Obviously, I don't think that's worth it. Amazon would be able to detect. It wouldn't take a month for them to detect that. It would take them a few days at most nowadays. So like I said, you have to do research on your own end. You have to make sure that anything you're using, you have the rights to use it. You have the licensing to use it, or it's available for commercial use. You have to do that due diligence on your own end. And this is what the, tens of thousands of other sellers on Merch by Amazon deal with on a daily basis.
Is your business, are there Twitter, Facebook, there's social media accounts for the business, correct?
Yes.
Have you seen success with those?
So as I mentioned earlier, I would say my website and my social media really isn't good. I'm not a good marketer, but I also haven't invested the capital because I like to keep my overhead low. Facebook once gave me a $35 credit for free, and I messed around with some ads and I didn't see any effect. I got literally 2 or 3 extra Facebook likes on my page. So like I said, my sales are entirely reliant on Amazon's organic traffic. And if you're a potential buyer and you know how to market and sell and drive traffic to products and websites, I know a lot of people on merch integrate their businesses with Shopify and other Amazon affiliate businesses. I know in their heads, if they're listening right now, they're screaming golden opportunity. That's not where my expertise lies. And I also don't feel that it's smart for me to invest capital in that. So my social media honestly stinks, and so does my website. I don't see much value in them. I'm definitely happy to transfer them over to a buyer, as I agreed with Empire Flippers that I would do. But I can't attribute, like I said, just to be safe, I can't attribute over 1% of my sales to my social media, traffic from Google, or my website.
And that's because, as you said, you haven't invested the time, effort, and money into growing those platforms. If someone were to come in with that skill set to be able to really drive traffic that way, that could be a monster opportunity to grow an already large traffic business.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, for example, my Facebook page only has a little over 200 likes. I have 2,700 Facebook friends. I could get all of them to like it, but are they going to buy my shirts? I just don't think it's worth bothering all of them. So I just don't know really how to do it the right way. And I know that a lot of people out there do. So that's definitely one very big opportunity. Probably one of the top ones behind the ability to scale very quickly.
Would you commit to a non-compete?
It depends. Like I said, I intend to stay in the business. And what I mean by that is I will try to acquire, my brother's merch account or help him out. My mom also does merch full time. So no, I intend to stay in the business. And that's because that obviously speaks to how I view the platform's future growth and where it's going. I don't think it's the time to get out. I'm willing to sell for the right price. So as far as a non-compete goes, I obviously would not upload any designs that are on my account now if I were to transfer it over. And more than my word, there are checks that Merch by Amazon has actually implemented. You cannot upload a design that somebody else has. They will catch that. They have automated processes that will catch that almost instantaneously, and they will reject it. And the last thing anyone wants to do is get rejections and violations on their account, because then Amazon has incentive to terminate your account. No one wants that because this is such a great opportunity. So that's another check so that I won't be using any of the designs that are already on my account. Amazon will slap me on the wrist until they decide to cut them off if I wanted to do something like that. And as far as certain niches, if someone, really wanted to scale up with certain kinds of shirts, like, people love, for example, keeping up with political trends, and regardless of where you stand on the president, there are lots of shirts out there about the president, whether it is for or against him. And for example, if that was where your focus wanted to be, I would be more than happy to sign a non-compete in that I will not dabble in those kinds of designs at all. I hope that clarifies it, Jake.
Yes. Also, so how much support are you willing to offer buyers during the transition?
I'm definitely willing to give them a little bit of coaching. And I know Empire Flippers already asked me before. I would assist entirely with the handoff process. I want to see my account continue to grow. In this transaction, I want there to be two winners. And because I intend on, potentially doing business with Empire Flippers again, I'm interested in doing business with lots of other people, including potentially the buyer. So I have no reason to burn any bridges, and I only feel compelled to help do as much as I can during the handoff process. I would like to make it quick in terms of getting the capital, but I'm definitely willing to invest a solid amount of time in whether it be Skype sessions or whatever, in showing the buyer exactly how I do things. I don't feel that it has to be a secret, and I just do things very efficiently. And I think that's why I've been successful, just how I use my time and my resources. So I'm more than happy to share as much information as possible, be as transparent as possible. And like I said, I want to see the buyer of this account, I want to see them multiply it times 5 in a year. That would make me very happy. That would also make me very jealous, but I definitely want to see the buyer be successful.
And with that said about getting the capital quickly, are you willing to negotiate about deals with other payment structures, like for instance, an earnout?
It's not ideal for me. As far as that goes, or seller financing, it would have to be at a really high interest rate for me to be giddy about it. The most important thing to me is getting the capital to be able to pay off my student loans, have a little bit of extra money for savings, and to dabble into other ventures. But the important thing is really getting the capital. So it's not ideal, but I'm open to a conversation about it because, I'm always willing to listen to ideas and offers, but I can honestly say I don't see this selling below Empire Flipper's current list price on this.
I have one final question for you, Stephen, but before we get to that, I want to run through a quick summary of the business again.
Sure.
Again, it was built in May of 2016, has a monthly revenue of $3,686, expenses of $0, to make for a net profit of $3,686, which is from a 12-month average. Included in the sale of this business are the Merch by Amazon account with 1,266 active designs, the domain, site content and files, and social media accounts for Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. Stephen, what is your best 30-second pitch on why someone should purchase this business?
Number one, consistent cash flow. The numbers on the graph speaks for itself. Number two, 6,700 open slots, which means 6,700 products that you can list on Amazon at no cost. And Merch just released long sleeve shirts, which are a world of opportunity. And if you have the time and the resources, you can scale this thing up like crazy. And if you're a passive investor and don't want to do that, you can enjoy the residual income. Yeah, it gets me really fired up. And like I said, I want to stay in the business because it's a great opportunity and it's been life-changing. So it's truly a blessing. Thanks again, Jake, for taking the time to speak with me. Really appreciate everything.
If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. And if you want more information, the link will be below the video that will take you to this marketplace listing. If you're watching this on the listing site and want more information, become a depositor today. All you have to do is click the button, make a deposit, and you'll be given everything you need to review this business. Have a great day.